Morning, everybody. Welcome to this digital accountancy show webinar. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Great to see some of you guys coming in early. Appreciate it. Hi, Will. Hi, Michael. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Kay. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Amelia. Good to see you guys. Just going to give it 30 seconds or so, just as we're a bit early, just to let everybody come into the room. Hi, Rishi. Hope you're well. Long time no speak. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, everybody. Delighted to say we had 183 people sign up to today's webinar. So thanks so much for being with us. I think we're in for a really good session this morning. Morning, everybody. Welcome to this digital accountancy show webinar. The chat box and the Q&A is open. So please feel free to put any questions or say hello in the chat box and in the Q&A box as we go. If you have any questions today for our presenters that are presenting, please feel free to pop those questions in and we will do our best to get back to you. We'll just give it another 30 seconds or so just to let a few more people come in. Yeah, hi, Rishi. Morning, everyone. Hi, John Horton. Good to see you. Hi, Andrew. Right, 10:01, I'll crack on. So morning, everybody. Welcome to this webinar this morning. My name's Dan Cockerton. I'm the founder of the Digital Accountancy Show. We're a technology conference that is hosted at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The event will take place on the 30th of June next year. It's an independent technology conference aimed for accountants in practice. We're really excited about it. We've got some really great speakers lined up for the event next year. So my background, so I used to work at Xero. In my time at Xero, I saw the cloud adoption curve take off quite significantly. As a result of that, I decided to launch the Digital Accountancy Show and really to address things like this. You know, what's the technology that we should be using? What apps should we be integrating into the likes of Xero and QuickBooks? And we decided to launch our event and also webinars like this. And what we're going to do today is we're going to take you into some of the technology to look out for in 2021. Really excited by the presenters that we have on the session today. Like I say, if you have any questions for any of our presenters or around any of the technology that you see today, please feel free to pop those in the Q&A or pop those in or pop any comments or any chat into the chat box. Be great to speak to some of you guys. And without further ado, let's get started. Really excited about the session today. I know for one, the technology that we have on display today, the feedback we get in the marketplace is exceptional. So really looking forward to seeing some of the technology in action, and we're going to give you some glimpses into what some of this technology can do. If you like what you see and you'd like to speak to the guys in a bit more detail, what we will do is run a poll at the end of the session, and you can just select which app or technology company you'd like to have a bit of a deeper conversation with. So time is of the essence. So Tom, would you mind if I bring you onto the screen? I know you're going to talk to us a bit about IwocaPay. So if I can ask you to share your screen.
Let's go again.
Good man, Tom. We can see that, and yeah, let's see what it's all about.
Yeah, perfect. So today we're going to talk about IwocaPay. IwocaPay is a new product that has come from Iwoca. Essentially, it's built out of the need for small businesses who need to get paid upfront, but are struggling to offer better payment terms to their clients. So we've come in to get businesses paid, but also reduce the risk with offering extended payment terms. And that's kind of our core goal, just getting people paid early. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to run you through where the product is right now. And then I'm also going to give you a glimpse of where we're going next year. So basically what happens is you have a seller and a buyer that's involved in IwocaPay. It's a business-to-business platform. The seller can be any UK company. At the moment, the buyer has to be a UK limited company. What happens is a seller creates a dashboard, which is what you're seeing now. When they have their invoice and they're ready to send their invoice across, this is where IwocaPay then sits. So to give you the best summary, IwocaPay is an app payment point solution. So I've done a piece of work and I'm ready to invoice my client for that piece of work. What I can do is come into IwocaPay, enter a reference. So this reference can be anything of your choosing or the seller's choosing. Usually we find that it's the same reference that's on the invoice that was generated. You enter the amount of the invoice, and once you've done that, you then create a IwocaPay link. When you create that IwocaPay link, you copy and paste that into the invoice. So where you would normally invoice a client and you say, hey, here's the invoice, you can then add in IwocaPay, so an IwocaPay link, and that goes out. When that goes out, the buyer can pay how they would normally pay, but obviously if they click on IwocaPay, then they'll come through to this screen. So what happens is the buyer would get this landing page here. It says, pay your invoice from this company, the total invoice amount, and they're then given the option to split the total amount across 3 payments. So that's what IwocaPay does, is it gives the seller a chance to get paid in full, and it gives the buyer the option to actually spread the cost of the invoice. So all the buyer has to do is enter their email here and then click pay over 90 days. When they do that, they'll then enter the Iwoca flow. So what we're going to do is we're going to essentially run almost like a soft search against that business. It enables us here at Iwoca to make sure that we can actually roll that line of credit for a small business. We make the decision in about 60 seconds because we can actually pull the data we need just from entering a few bits of information. Once the buyer's done that, and that whole process takes about 30 seconds, they're then presented with this. So they can actually then see what the level of interest would look like if they wanted to split the invoice amount over 3 months, and actually the total cost. So they get a breakdown of when the payments are going to be due and the total cost. When they're happy with that, they then click complete payment. From there, they'll then go through a couple of identity checks, which we use on Fido to do. They'll then enter their card details. So that's where we then obviously can help make the repayments. They'll then enter the loan agreement. Sometimes we might ask for a personal guarantee, but it tends to be quite rare. And then once the buyer's gone through this process, again, the whole process taking about 5 minutes maximum, they get to this point here, which says, this is how much the invoice will cost to split over 3 months. When they click the approve your invoice here, what happens there is Iwoca is then going to pay the seller directly. So the seller gets paid in full when that button's clicked. Right now, the seller has sent the invoice and they've just been paid in full. And then the buyer has this arrangement with Iwoca where they'll debit the amounts on those dates. However, if, for example, the buyer has a 90-day term and actually they want to pay the full thing off in 60 days, they can pay the whole thing off in 60 days without any extra charges or any extra costs. And actually the first 30 days of using the facility are interest free. So what happens there is the seller's getting paid in full. There's a 3% transaction charge for the seller to use the product, and that's it. There's no recourse on that seller. So all they're doing is they're offering their clients another way to pay them and giving their clients essentially longer extended payment terms without having to take the risk of offering out credit. So that's where the product is right now. But where we're going, and I've now got the okay to actually share this with you because it's now all been agreed and signed and we're pushing this out now, is we've now done a Xero integration and we have a secondary part of IwocaPay, which is called Pay Now. So IwocaPay is coming in 2 strands: Pay Later, which is what you've just seen, and Pay Now, which is what I'm going to show you with the Xero integration. So essentially, if you or your clients are using Xero, what you would do is just before you get to this point here, under your payment options, you would link IwocaPay as a payment option, and there's a whole click through on that. But it's very similar. If you've ever added a payment option into Xero, you basically follow the same flow. So once you've linked your payment options, you'll come through to here and ready to send the invoice. When you send the invoice, this is what the client will see. So from the seller perspective, there's no real change. All you're doing is you're creating an invoice with IwocaPay as the payment option on there. From the buyer side, this is where it's slightly different. So they get their invoice like they would from Xero normally, and at the top here they get to click Pay Now with IwocaPay. So when they come through to this screen, the buyer has two options. So they have Pay Now or Pay Later. Again, the seller's journey in this is very, very simple. They're just creating the invoice and sending it out. It's up to the buyer to choose how they want to pay. With Pay Now, the massive benefit that we're releasing with this is it's going to be completely free to use. So Pay Now has no transaction costs. It has no cost associated whatsoever, and that's going to be for life. So say, for example, this invoice goes across and the seller gets the invoice. They click Pay Now. When they hit Secure Checkout, they'll then go through to this screen. They then click their bank, so NatWest in this example, and they'll then get this code. They can use their phone to actually scan this code, and this will automatically launch their banking app. So we're using open banking to make this smooth and simple. If they want to use desktop, there's the option. But in this example, they're going to use their phone to scan that QR code. When they do that, that's automatically going to open up their banking app with this screen here. So all they have to do is make a transfer, click complete, and you're paid. And that's how paying.
On that note, buddy, we're just kind of running out of time a little bit, but really, really great to see IwocaPay in action, and it feels like you guys have come on a long way in a fairly short amount of time. That's looking really good. Great to see the integration with Xero as well.
Yeah, so that has just launched, and for obviously expense side of things, you can either enter, if you're using Receipt Bank, you could enter a Receipt Bank email in there or the Xero receipt email in there, and that is IwocaPay.
Any links that you've got, can you put them into the chat box for me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to kind of see IwocaPay in a bit more detail, have a quick chat with Tom afterwards, please feel free to put the Q&As in, your questions into the Q&A box, and we'll also run kind of the poll at the end as well. Tom, thanks so much for that. Jacques, do you mind if I hand the floor over to yourself from Xama Technologies?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. So yes, we are Xama Technologies, and we've launched a product last month to the wider accounting public called the Xama Onboarding Solutions. What we are aiming to do at Xama Onboarding Solutions is to create an integration-first approach to identity verification and AML checks. We're different in that we're not just another app, but we try to integrate your compliance requirements straight into your existing software, whether that's CRM systems, practice management software, and so on. We operate a pay-as-you-go arrangement, and it's typically just a few hours to set up. We have a Zapier application, and it's very easy to get up and running. So just a brief overview of what we talk about when we're talking about an onboarding journey. Typically, you'll have a trigger which somehow initiate the communication with your client to get some information from them. This is typically their home address, an identity document, and so on. And you then have to go and complete some verification checks on the document, AML checks, and then afterwards you get to transfer all of that information into your CRM system. And then typically you have to repeat that process every year for an AML check. And we are basically aiming to automate this entirely so that takes out all of that administrative work away from you as the accountant. So I'm going to use a very basic demonstration today to just show you how this works. We're going to use Center, which some of you might know. It's a practice management software. I'm going to have an individual that I want to onboard and I want to get that information from, and I'm going to trigger out an email to that individual asking them for that information. Our platform will pick up that information. It'll verify the document. It'll do the AML checks, and then automatically it will push the information back into Center. I'm basically going to be playing the part of the customer during this demo. So as the accountant, you really just initiate it, and then there's nothing for you to do further on. So I'm going to jump out of this and just go into Center. And in Center, I've basically set up myself as a client. The only information I've got here is really my name and the contact details for myself. And I've created a custom field in here, and I'm just going to in-queue myself for onboarding. Let's hope everything goes as planned. But if it does, I should be getting an email here asking me for my documentation. So here you can see I've just received an email. And all it does, it asks me to say, this is customizable, by the way. You can send this from your own email account. And it contains a link, which if I follow that, it's going to take me through what we call an onboarding journey. And this onboarding journey is customizable. You can change the text on here, and you can also change the steps that we want to ask people to do. But in this case, we need somebody's home address. I'm going to put my home address, and then in the next stage, it's going to ask me for a document. I'm just going to add my passport in here. Because of the nature of this public demonstration, I'm going to upload an altered version of my passport. So everything's just sort of taken out, and I don't really expect this document to pass any of the checks. But as I upload this document, we integrate with GBG, which has identity verification software. It will verify this document. It'll make sure that there's no digital tampering, everything's okay. And then we'll also take that information along with the information about the address, and we'll start doing an anti-money laundering check in the background as well. As that is being as that is completing, I have this screen within Center. And as I showed you on the, just before I went into this demonstration, I should be seeing some information coming through. And there you can see that information is coming through within the Center record. I've not had to transfer any of that information back, and I can see I've already got the ID verification result, which is not supported. It's basically a fail on the identity document that I expected, but the AML result could actually pass because that is actually my home address, and it could match my last name with my postcode and so on, which is all we need for the AML result. But should I get a bad result, such as the ID verification here, we also provide a link into our portal, which will give you more information about that. So the idea is you bring the high-level information in, and then any sort of information that you need to check further up on, you can go into our portal and you can go and download the information that sits at the back of this. So here I'm just downloading the document that was done by GBG in terms of that verification. My connection is not brilliant, so it's just taking a little time to download. But basically you can see here, brings up that document, and it couldn't really get much from it because I smudged out everything. And you can see it would carry out loads of tests. You get an enormous amount of information about it. If it had failed, it'll tell you exactly why as well. And the same for anti-money laundering, you can get your information from there as well. So how do you get started with us? It's really simple and easy. You can head over to our website. You go to xamatech.com. You can either book a free call with us or create an account. We're continuously publishing getting started information, how you can get going. But we do encourage you to book a very brief call with us just to get to know you a little bit more. And at the moment, we're also giving away 30 free credits as you sign up. 30 free credits that will get you through about 6 different AML checks. And so, yeah, head over to xamatech.com. Feel free to contact us for more information. We do much more complicated integrations than what I've just shown you, which involves company onboarding and so on. And we can really integrate into any kind of system that you want to do. So it'll be great to discuss your requirements. But yeah, that's I think
Jack,
my time's up.
Thank you so much. That was really great. Client onboarding for a lot of firms is a very manual heavy process. So it looks like you guys are doing a great job in kind of leading the kind of automation for client onboarding. So thank you so much for that presentation. Really great. Marcus, do you mind if I hand the floor over to yourself? Marcus from AccountancyManager.
Not a problem. So I'm just going to share my screen now.
Perfect.
Nice one. So hi there, I'm Marcus, Head of Sales here at Accountancy Manager. I'm super excited to give you a real whistle-stop tour of what's available within Accountancy Manager. Let's start with how we came to be. So James Byrne, our CEO, was the son of a senior district HMRC tax inspector turned accountant and began working for his father in practice in 2010. He was young, impatient, and quickly became frustrated at taking on the mundane, time-consuming tasks, manually updating his task list, chasing clients for missing records, UTR numbers, company's house authorization codes. The list just seemed endless, spending his valuable time on non-billable work, time he could be generating invoices, or even better, spending it with his family. So there had to be a better way, didn't there? At this point, Accountancy Manager was born. So let's have a quick look at Accountancy Manager and what it does. So you bagged yourself a new client, fantastic. Let's bring it on board, couldn't be simpler. So you choose your company, you choose your directors. That brings through the due dates, the directors, confirmation statements, it's all there, done. As you see, it's all pulled through from Company's House. So what services are you going to supply them with? Click, put a price in, click, put a price in, assign it to a colleague who's going to be doing the work, or yourself. Time to onboard, you start your onboarding workflow. Click your subtasks that you want to achieve, complete them quickly and easily. Sending a proposal, simple within Accountancy Manager. Tick how you want it to look, and then just send it across. So what does your client see? Your proposal arrives. Looks good to me. Time to register. E-sign, easy. Set up your client portal. Pop in your new password that you've decided on. Send. All the information that your accountant needs, you fill in yourself, UTR, company's house, personal data, even down to your last accountant. All done. So I'm registered. Now, back with your accountant hat on. Your notification bell's ringing. Yes, it's my new client who signed his terms. So let's check what they've updated. Looks good to me. AML checks. Yes, you can. So pop in their data, click whether you just want to do the AML or you want to do a credit check as well. Done. Self-generating task list. Well, what's your focus today? So I'm going to look at accounts. I'm going to check my 30-day deadlines. And scroll down here. I can see my new company on my list. And Accountancy Manager tells me what's missing before I complete my task. Click, and it's all done. Client timelines. Let's just send a text using a template. Click and send, and it's in the timeline, along with changes, emails, log time, notes, and documents, all of which can be filtered. Automation, well, you're in control of what you automate. Click it on or click it off. You can click on everything, or you can just click on some things, and you can do that globally, or you can do it at client level. You choose. Keep track of missing client details. Well, when you register them on the portal, remind them of what you need. Done. Request your 64/8 from in here too. Corporation tax, PAYE, CIS. Click submit, and it's done. Fee projections, annual, monthly, by person, by service, or by client, all at your fingertips. Track your work time, call time, meeting time, plus see who's logging time. live, but also see who's not. Communicate with your team within Accountancy Manager. You choose who to send it to, you choose when to send it, and you can choose to notify. Pop in your subject and your message, and you're good to go. One-click filtering. Easy within Accountancy Manager. Just want my limited companies and it was done. Mass emailing, one click, done. Invoicing, what's in, what's out, generate, check, and again, you're done. Free e-signing, choose your document, choose e-sign, sorted. Custom forms, want to do it your way, that's fine. Create your questions, choose your response type, add it to the list, and it's saved for when you need it. So, Accountancy Manager, out of the box, ready. All the fields you need, all the templates you need, the LOEs you need, GDPR compliant. You can make it the beating heart of your practice. More time, less stress. Accountancy Manager. Special offer for while you're here. Promo code DAS2020. Just head on over to AccountancyManager.com and it's 29 plus VAT per month per monthly subscriber and 278.40 per annual subscriber. First year discount. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Brilliant. Thanks, Marcus. Accountancy Manager does so much. Is there anything that it doesn't do? It's, there's a lot in there. Great to see the product in the product itself. So thanks for that. Looks great. I'm going to hand over to Rich from Flowlens. Morning, Rich. You're just on mute.
It's good way I heard.
Not the first time I've said that this year.
Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, there we go, Rich. We got it.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me, guys. Something a little bit different here. Thinking more about your clients and helping them solve problems. In particular, for us, we help small to medium-sized equipment manufacturers. And a wee bit like Marcus there, we're providing an all-in-one solution that helps businesses that are typically used to maybe a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of manual processes, a lot of verbal communication and relying on what's on people's heads to bring together sort of CRM, sales pipeline, forecasting, order book, stock management, purchasing, job cards and assembly of products and after sales service. So one of the reasons that we specialize in equipment manufacturers, we've been doing this for 14, 15 years at this stage nearly, and we saw the need in small equipment manufacturers to do away with paperwork and to create a more transparent process across the business and be able to also leverage more revenues, because a lot of these companies weren't really making the most of their aftermarket revenues, whether it was spare parts or selling service contracts and whatnot. So what we've been able to do is bring together all of that in one system. For example, industrial switchgear based in Redditch. These guys are saving a day per week per sort of key employee, but they're also giving a better customer experience. And they're getting more work out the door and generating higher revenues because they've got everything in one place in Flowlens. I can't show you the whole product today because there's a whole array of features in it. What I was going to give you is a quick flavor of what it looks like. If I can just get rid of the slides for a second. So Flowlens it's a cloud-based product. It links with Xero, QuickBooks, and we can also link through to Sage via a third party. But every user is getting a flavor of their day in the business with their own customizable dashboards. You've got different features here along the top which help you do different parts of the workflow, and everything in Flowlens kind of comes back to a company. So Acme here is a supplier and a customer, just to give you an idea, where at your fingertips you have a full array of locations, people, sales activity, orders, purchasing, service activity, invoicing, financial information, as well as what we call assets. So every machine or item you've sold can be tracked, and based on that serial number can be serviced in the long run. There's also tools again around transparency of activity, so tasks that people have planned for themselves or others, and interaction history and so on. To give you an idea of the integration, I'm just going to quickly create a quote here and run that through for a couple of steps. And this is typically, you know, where you're seeing businesses that operate in silos coming together on one business process. So I can pull in a product from my database. So I have a full list of everything that I sell and make and all of my raw materials in the system. I can create a quote for that. I can generate a pre-formatted PDF. So my professional branding is coming through. I can send that as an email straight from the system, and I can attach other items such as technical specifications and brochures and whatnot. That's now going into my quotation forecast, but I'm just going to mark that as accepted and jump straight into the order book by creating an order. As you can see here, it's pulling all the information across from one step to another. And typically for manufacturers, these are two different functions. The sales team's out there winning business, and then it comes back into the office, and then there's a processing and planning activity that happens behind the scenes. Because the system links all of these together, you've got full transparency from the start to the finish. So here I'm going to create a job card to manufacture this machine. And again, thinking about work in progress and the cost of what's actually happening, we can track what's happening in real time. So we can reserve stock to the job card, and the system starts to calculate the costs that are going into this machine. See here, my material spend's updating. Similarly, we can add time into it, and so on. So you start to get a more reliable way of capturing and reporting data as it's happening, rather than going back at the end of the month or even at the end of the year to try and figure out what's realistic and real about work in progress. We can also track the items that are going in. So we have traceability of products that are going into our finished goods. And as I said earlier, we can create a serial number for each item that goes out. And when I complete that, the system is back flushing all of the stock. So all of my parts that have been used in that, the stock levels have been depleted. I don't have time to show you it now, but we can issue purchase orders. You can have controls over who can issue purchase orders and how much they can issue those for. But if I go back to my order here, I can dispatch this. So back in my actions button here, we can dispatch our items. We can look up the item we've just manufactured, send that out, and also then generate our invoice. So we can generate invoices at any point in the process. I've just left it to the end. So we can generate multiple invoices as well against the sales order. And this demo is hooked up to 0. So I'm pushing that through with a click of a button to 0 for onward processing. And there we have it. So I just wanted to give you a flavor of how Flowlens brings all of that together, and also how then that information is available with a vast array of reports. So you can drill into the information, whether you're looking at it from an operational standpoint, from a sales and performance standpoint, or an end of month and end of year standpoint. You've got different views into the data, and the system really transforms how these businesses operate.
Rich, can I just jump in? Sorry, just running slightly out of time. In terms of, so this is great for accountants that deliver app advisory or transformation services into their client base.
Yeah.
As accountants, talk to me a little bit about the partnership that you have with accountants.
Well, we work with accountants and with our clients, because we don't just give people the software and let them run with it. So we have a process of onboarding, where we work with accountants or indeed the company to ensure that they're taking on the system in a kind of bite-sized and manageable way, so that they understand that how they're migrating maybe from a legacy accounts package, and we're working with them on their chart of accounts and that migration process.
Okay.
Usually into Xero or QuickBooks, and then once you start getting into the business process side of things, the business is able to consume the product in bite-sized chunks. But
Okay.
there's an overall vision there for how that's going to turn into operational and financial reporting.
Brilliant.
Outputs.
Rich, thanks so much for taking us a dive into Flowlens. Really appreciate it. If there are any accountants on the call that are delivering app advisory or offering technology advice onto their clients, and certainly have a chat with Rich and Flowlens and work out what that kind of sweet spot of client might be. Thanks, Rich. Really appreciate your time. I'm going to hand over to Sanjay at Expend. Hi, Sanjay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sanjay.
Good
Nice,
morning.
big bright smile to welcome us to. So perfect. I'll hand the floor over to you, Sanjay.
Sweet. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanjay. I'm 28 and I'm from London. Only joking. That's a different type of speed dating. Obviously, we're here to showcase our wonderful platform. So I work for Expend. We are an all-in-one expense management platform. So what does that actually mean? So we cover all types of business expenses, no matter how they're paid for. We've got our own company Smart MasterCard, which automates the whole process. We support out-of-pocket expense claims. We support virtually any card through our universal card support. We even allow you to scan in invoices and receipts automatically using our document scanner. So the idea with Expend is no matter how you've paid for the expense, whether it's, as I've mentioned, with your own card, with out of pocket, with our card, you can go ahead and use our expense management platform to streamline the whole process for you. Great thing again is all of these things sync with the latest accounting software. So the popular accounting softwares like Xero and QuickBooks work out the box. There's no need to press any sync buttons or anything like that. Everything just pushes across automatically. So it's nice and easy to use. For all our lovely accounting partners that use a different type of software, maybe Sage, maybe a different type of accounting software, we go ahead and we can support that as well. So the idea with Expend, it's very flexible, it's super flexible and very scalable. So what differentiates Expend against its competitors? So the fact that we are all in one is our key differentiator. So essentially what we've done is we've got all the best elements of expense management. We've bundled that together. I forgot to mention, we do mileage tracking as well. We bundle that together and we put it all within one place and one low monthly fee that users can go ahead and use. Let me show you a few of our happy customers. So we work with a wide range of customers. We support everybody from one-man bands, plumbers, electricians, as an example, all the way up to your big multinationals like Coke, the big restaurant chain. They use our cards for their petty cash. You've got Bumble, the dating app, Jimmy's Iced Coffees, Age UK. Charities love our platform for the transparency and how easy it is to use. I guess, like everything, seeing is believing. So let's jump into a quick demo. I can actually show you all of these, well, as much as I can, because I know we've got 7 minutes, Dan, so I won't overrun. I'll try my best not to. Let's jump straight into the platform. So let's start off with our smart prepaid debit card. So the way that it works is you're given a float account. You transfer funds into this central account. Once the funds appear, if you're using one of our flex cards, any of these users can use funds from this central account, providing they're within their spending policy. So, for example, Colin's got a spending policy of $250 a day. You can change that per day, per week, per work week, depending on how you want to do things. As well as having those spending policies where we've got more card security features than most banks. Well, banks allow their customers to have access to. So you've got the option to enable and disable any of the features you can see on screen now. We even allow you to do merchant type blocks. So if there's a particular merchant or your sales team are going out using company finances to buy a round of drinks at the pub, you can just go ahead and block that and they won't be able to use that anymore. So what actually happens when someone makes a purchase using one of our smart Expend cards? So I can go ahead and quickly show you that. So when they make the purchase, they get a ping notification on their smartphone that drops in the My Expenses tab automatically. They get everything. So the amount, the only thing they have to select is the category and the tax, any tracking groups that they have. So we sync with Xero's tracking groups, and we also sync with QuickBooks tracking groups out of the box. But you can go ahead and sync those with the other type of accounting platforms. A big key differentiator with us and the other players within this industry is the ability to split the receipt. So you can go ahead and if you've got various tax types, if you've got various categories and they're all within one receipt, there's no problem with that. It's nice and easy for you to account for. It's great for your client. They can account for it at the end as well. They know exactly where their money's flowing through the business. So once they've filled in this information, taken a picture of their receipt, they can go ahead and save and submit. I've not included something. Oh, sorry, that's the split. So let me get rid of that. Just save and submit it. And then that will go over to, depending on the size of the business, that will go over to a CFO, finance person within the organization. So let's say we've spent £1 in Poundland. So that CFO, finance person, bookkeeper can come in, check all of this is correct and verify all the information before hitting save and approving that. And within a blink, all of that information pops over to Xero automatically. All the information on the transaction, including the tax, any tracking groups, any receipt data, pushes through at ease. Same thing happens for QuickBooks. As well as doing that with our Expend Smart Prepaid credit card, we support the out-of-pocket element. So maybe you don't want to give your employees cards. Maybe you don't want to give out company funds and you just want it to be reimbursed. So you can go ahead and do that using this drop down over here. Very same process. Obviously, we're short on time, so I won't take you through each of these fields again, but essentially you put the supplier, put the amount, the category, the tax, and any tracking groups. You upload a receipt. Obviously, you can do that with our smartphone app as well. That will automatically be pushed through into QuickBooks and Xero as a bill. So again, once you've paid that bill back, you can mark that as paid, and it comes into your accounting software in the format that you know, that you like, that you enjoy. I know that there's almost a secret rivalry between QuickBooks and Xero accountants. Sometimes everyone's got their preference and everyone's, got benefits for both. So you can go ahead and sync those across automatically. You've also got the option to do mileage claims. So in the exact same way, you can go ahead and create a mileage claim. You can do this in the app, put the start origin, the destination. A key thing that our accountants love is when you've reached the 10,000 mile limit, the rate automatically drops as well. So that's super impressive. It's going to save you time and energy as well. We've got the ability to support multiple businesses within the platform as well.
Hey, Sanjay, sorry to jump in, buddy.
Yeah,
I've just got to jump in. We just to keep on track of time. Thanks so much for giving us a look into Expend. Really appreciate it. And great to have you on. If anybody has any questions for Sanjay, please pop them in the Q&A or just select Expend at the end of the session. I'm just going to move on to Kyle from Unleashed. Hi, Kyle.
Morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Happy Monday, everyone. It's for our last full week of work now. Sanjay, do you mind? Sorry, just stop sharing your screen and I can quickly share mine. Sorry, mate.
We'll get there, no worries.
Liquid transition.
There we go.
Cheers, Sanjay.
Over to you, Carl.
Cheers. Okay, so quickly move that, sorry. So yeah, cheers for having me, Dan. I know 7 minutes isn't long, so I'm going to start my stopwatch now. Hopefully you guys can all hear me and see my screen. So yeah, who am I? I'm Kyle Hughes. I'm part of the partnerships team here at Unleashed. We manage the UK, EMEA and North America from our Bristol office. So we, what is Unleashed? We are the #1 zero inventory add-on. We serve thousands of clients globally. We've got a head office in New Zealand, but we've got our UK office in Bristol. So we've got like 23 staff in the UK. And I think we might be the only inventory app to have that sort of presence in the UK. But we've been around 10 years. We were one of Xero's first integrations. We are an end user operational software that accountants would recommend to their clients and then could have access to their accounts for free if you were an Unleashed partner. We help product businesses, so wholesalers, distributors and manufacturers are a really, really good fit for Unleashed. We recently got nominated for the App Industry Specific App of the Year award for XeroCon, and we've also got the Xero App Partner of the Month for something we made a sales channel during lockdown for our customers who were hit really hard by COVID. Okay, so we are an operational software that sits in the middle of all your sales channels and your accounting software. So like we would become like the master software, and you would run your business using Unleashed effectively. So problems that we solve, there's absolutely no need for servers or any on-premise software. We're all accessing the cloud in the browser, really, really easy to do. You just need a good Wi-Fi connection, real-time accuracy, and know exactly when to reorder your products when you're running low. And we've got real-time integrations with Xero, QuickBooks Online as well, like Shopify, Salesforce, Magento, those sort of big players in the market. Okay, so here are some examples of our customers. So like that's very food and beverage heavy. Like we're not just a good fit for food and beverage manufacturers, like electronic manufacturers, kind of anyone manufacturing or holding a lot of stock would be a good fit for Unleashed. But here's some examples of customers you may have seen in the supermarket. Dr. Will's, for example, I tasted their sauce in a restaurant in Bristol, and I approached them and they signed up not long after. So it's a good success story there. Okay, so let's do a whirlwind tour of Unleashed. Usually a demo takes about an hour, so this is going to be hard. So here's the dashboard, the homepage, I guess. You've got like anything that's expired or late. You can run the BI dashboard here and change the month to date as well. And we've got purchasing, which links to Xero, of course, and the QuickBooks. Inventory, we've got a manufacturing module as well. Sales, customers, suppliers, integrations, reports, and business intelligence as well. So we've got a lot to offer. If I click into a product I've loaded, so this is a finished product, an apricot jam, so we would actually manufacture it. So there's different types of products in Unleashed as well. We have traceability, so batch tracking and serial tracking, if anyone would need that for the extra layer of security. You can link it to different sales and COGS accounts in Xero and QuickBooks as well. So it's not just like a one-time only sales account. You can see all your stock across all locations. You get unlimited warehouses in Unleashed. You can set minimum stock levels to know when to reorder. You have multiple suppliers that you buy the product from. There might be a minimum order quantity, a discounted rate if you order a certain amount. Like you can all factor that in at the supplier level and the customer level. Unleashed is a really good fit for wholesalers as well. So tiered pricing, quantity price discounts for at the sales level as well, we can manage, and we also have customer specific pricing as well. So if I've already loaded this up because I'm conscious of the time, but I've gone for salesperson, me, customer type, small retail, product group, finished jam. So that gives that high level gross profit margin, gross profit over the tax year. So you can obviously get rid of all these filters and look at all the data that we've got down here. But I just wanted to show you how the BI filter works. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to go through that. So also we've got, so here's a purchase order that I've done before. So like how Unleashed manages the purchase order processing and sales order processing is you'd add as many line items as you need to. Like here's the batch tracking I was talking about. This one has obviously been completed before. You can add in a cost line, and then when you receipt those goods in, that's when it goes over to Xero, and you would then approve that bill to pay and then pay your suppliers. And so this one we've managed to pay them already. Similarly, with a sales order is made up of a shipment and an invoice. Obviously, the invoice is the side of things that Xero deals with. So there's the View in Xero link button there, pulls across like payment terms and all that juicy stuff. And then there's the products here. It's the right sales account. It's going into the right warehouse, and we've got that shipping charge in here as well. Okay, and then finally, I know this is a whirlwind tour, but here's the integration store. So like we've got an active integration to Xero, but don't forget that you can use QuickBooks as well, QuickBooks Online, sorry. You know, Shopify is a leading e-commerce platform that we integrate with. We've got Amazon, we've got Vend for point of sale. We've got our own B2B portal, an advanced shipping module. And then here's some other like third-party integrations that have reached out to us and built an integration with us. So I appreciate that is really, really hard to go through everything. Hold on a second. So yeah, if you want to find out more, you can click on this link. You can contact me directly, so unleashsoftware.com/talk to Kyle. You can also book in a webinar, and if you want to get in touch with me directly, we can easily do a demo and go through it in more detail. I will put these links in the chat anyway, but yeah, please do tick on Unleashed on the poll if you want to speak to us again.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kyle. While I hand over the floor to Callum from Wolters Kluwer, who takes care of the implementation? So if I'm an accountant, I've got a client that's a good fit for Unleashed, who then does the rest of the work?
So we have, I should have covered this. Thanks for the prompt. So we have an onboarding team. So it's you get an assigned onboarding consultant for the first 3 months of subscription, where we would go through your time frame, go through requirements that you have, when you want to go live, and we would do all of that virtually over Zoom and over calls.
Right.
But you would get an assigned, like almost an account manager for that first 3 months to make sure you can implement it correctly.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Carl. And do you have any kind of accountant partner programs or anything like that?
We do, yeah. We've got a referral partner program, which is completely free to join, gives you an Unleashed account for life. Your clients get their first month for free, and they can invite you as a user, and they wouldn't have to pay for your license. It would recognize that you're a partner.
Good man. Thanks so much, Kyle. Really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for showing us Unleashed. I'm going to hand over to Callum. Hi, Callum.
Hi, guys. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to quickly share my screen, so let me know when you can see it.
Yep, we've got it.
Brilliant. So hi, guys. My name's Callum Chittial, and I'm a digital specialist here at Wolters Kluwer. So as a digital specialist, what we do is help accountancies and SMEs, what we call our corporate clients, with their move to digital solutions. So in this particular instance, Basecone, which is our purchase invoicing automation software. So Basecone is a Dutch company by origin. It was acquired by Wolters Kluwer about 5 years ago now. And as I just said, what it does is it just automates your purchase invoicing documents, essentially. What would normally be, manual data entry, punching in information from PDFs or paper invoices, is automated and made a lot more efficient by either our scanning application, which you can just take a photograph of and get sent into you, or by using our unique email addresses here. So what I'm going to do is I've a recording here, so I'm just going to make sure you can hear my sound. I'm going to play a quick demo of Basecone working with Xero. It works with Xero, Sage 1, Twinfield, and also Exact. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Morning, everyone, and welcome to Basecone, which is Wolters Kluwer's purchase invoicing software. As you can see from the left-hand side, we integrate with the 3 different accountancy softwares, Sage 1, Twinfield, and Xero. Today I'm going to be showing Xero. Now, in order to get your documents into the software, there are 3 different ways. You can use this unique email address here. So what you can do is just get people, email them to you like so. I'll just send this one over here. That's now making its way over to Basecone. Now, as well as that, we have a mobile phone application. You can take a photograph of the document and process it into Basecone that way. Or alternatively, if people are still giving you hard paper copies, you can just upload them like this. So if I upload that one, that's now there. And you'll also notice that we've got an email saying that the other one's there, both here. Now what we can do is decide what to tag them as. Purchase invoice, sales, or customizable. We're going to do purchase invoice. At this stage, you can also assign to an authorizer, but I'm going to do that later. So we press confirm. Now that they've been tagged, they just need processing. So we come over to validation overview. Here are the documents. So we click to this one, we press details. We can add today's date. What we can do, we can see on the left-hand side is the invoice. And what Basecone's done is it's used its OCR, optical character recognition, to read the invoice and populate the relevant information on the right-hand side. We check that it's correct. We've got the transaction date. The due date is governed by the payment terms for the supplier. The amount it's picked up. Smart agency, it's picked up the supplier. It's up the correct invoice number. Now, what you'll see is that an authorization flow has automatically been put into place. Now, this is because the amount is over £2,500. So you can set up limits and then authorization flows dependent on the limit. Now we come down to the account code. We can assign this to advertising. This is done by the general ledger within your accountancy software. If you want to have another level of analysis through the item or department, you can. I'm going to highlight that and click that as the description. If you wanted this to be set as a default and to happen every time we saw the smart agency, you could book and save as a posting rule. However, I'm just going to book this normally into 0 now. So this is now making its way over to 0. In 0, we come down to bills to pay. And what we can see here is that under awaiting approval is the smart agency document that I just sent over. So we get the £2,500 here. We get a view of the invoice here. Now we can also click that document and it will take us to another tab with a view of the invoice. So now that documents have been sent out for approval, there are 2 ways to approve it. You can either log in using the software. So for all intents and purposes, I'm logging in as if I was the authorizer, so finance director, HR manager, whoever it may be. Now, if you don't want to use the software, then what you can do is use our mobile phone application, and you can just swipe left or right to approve or reject invoices from your phone anywhere on the go. Over this one, we're using the software. We come down to authorization and we can see the document here. So you have the ability to change the authorizer, put it on hold or reject it, and also leave comments. I'm going to authorize this. So now if we come back to 0, we go to bills to pay, the waiting approval should be 0. And there it is 0. So what that means is that now that this has been authorized, it will now appear in a payment run. Beforehand, it wouldn't, because it was essentially being held. Now, another part about Basecone, which is particularly good, is the archiver. So I'm just going to log back in. The archiver essentially replaces your filing cabinet, and it stores documents for up to 10 years. So if you come down to archive, you can search for any invoice you've sent based on any of these criteria. So if we just did Smart Agency, for example, it then brings up all the relevant documents. We click in, gives you the invoice, gives you the document timeline, even letting you know when it was authorized and who by, and then also the document details, so the account code, if you put in a cost center or project, so on and so forth. And again, all you would need to do is just download this, and then that would work for, if someone's auditing you or wants proof of said invoice. So that was Basecone today. If you have any questions or any queries, please feel free to reach out to me, callum.chitty@wolterskluwer.com, or give me a buzz on that number there. Thank you very much for listening today. Hope you found that informative. Hey, so thanks a lot, everyone. Hopefully you could all hear that. And just to say, with Basecone, you can also use it for expenses. So very much the same way, you would just take a photograph of the receipt and then just send it through as an expense claim. But I didn't have enough time to show that today.
Thanks so much, Callum. Really appreciate you showing us Basecone. Really, really good video there. So thanks for preparing that for us. I'm just going to hand over to Rishi from Reducer. Hi, Rishi.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for that.
No
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's well. My name's Rishi. I am the head of sales here at Reducer, and that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So let's get right into it. So what is Reducer? We're a cost management consultancy partnering with accountants to help save their clients money. Essentially, we've got an integration with Xero and QuickBooks, which allows us to go into a client's accountancy software, figure out all of the areas where they're overspending on their utilities, and produce what we call a cost savings report. Then we share that with the client. If the client wants to move forward with the savings, we handle all of the hard work, from speaking to their old supplier to their new supplier and managing the handover process. But I guess more importantly, why do we exist? Why do we do this? Well, to answer that question, let's look at a real life example. Meet Jenny. Jenny's one of our clients. She's got 3 pizzerias down on the South Coast. Jenny does a lot. She helps out in the kitchen. She does daily stock inventory. She speaks to clients on a day-to-day basis, and she meets her accountants once a month. She's got a lot going on. It's fair to say the one thing Jenny lacks is time. It would take her absolutely years to manage her 3 pizzerias in terms of all of her utilities, ensure that they're all on the best possible deals, and know when all of her contracts are expiring as well, so she doesn't go into out of contract rates. Now, this is not just Jenny. If you can be honest with yourself and ask yourself, do you actually know when your electricity contract's going to come to an end, and if you're going to go into out of contract rates or not? I don't, and I work at Reducer. So this is why you need someone externally to be able to manage that for you. Now, the great thing about Jenny is she loves pizza. She absolutely loves it. She'd much rather be making pizza than comparing supplier rates, spending hours on the phone with suppliers, and filling out pages and pages of contracts. And this is the problem with SMEs at the moment. They just lack time. According to a survey done by the Competition and Marketing Authority back in 2016, UK SMEs are overpaying by over £7 billion on their utilities per year. That's billion with a B. They are also concluded that over 80% of UK SMEs are being overcharged for energy. Only 10% of them regularly review their utility contracts. And if they did review their utility contracts, up to 40% on average could be saved. So what's the solution to this? Well, what if Jenny could, in a few simple clicks, find all of the best deals on all of her utilities for all of her companies, have all of the work done for her, and get contract expiry reminders as well? Well, that's what Reducer do. We look at all of the problems that SMEs are facing in terms of managing their bills and solve them one by one. The major one being time. Well, we analyze all of your clients' bills all in one go, all in a couple of clicks. Effort, we do all the hard work, from managing all aspects to the switch, from speaking to the old supplier, speaking to the new supplier, preparing the documentation, and making sure the handover process is as smooth as possible. Insight, we've got expert analysts on staff who are experienced in finding the best possible deals. Introductory offers, all of our prices are fixed for the duration of the contract period, so you won't see any kind of fluctuation in rates. Variable contracts, we will notify your clients just before their contracts are about to expire. So suppliers won't be able to put them onto out of contract rates where they're paying 4 or 5 times more than they were paying previously. Confusing rates, we break down all supplier rates to make sure everything is very, very easy to understand and, more importantly, easy to compare, so you know where the best deal is available for you. Okay, so what's the process for you as the accountant and your clients? Well, the idea of Reducer is to find your client savings. So Reducer simply connects into your accounting software, whether it be Xero or QuickBooks. We analyze the bills that are attached to that accounting software and see how much your clients are spending on those utilities. We then pull those rates out and compare those rates to hundreds of suppliers within our network, looking at meter numbers, day rates, night rates, standing charge, unit charges, all of that stuff, until we find the best possible supplier in terms of savings, and then the next 4 after that as well. So we give you a nice choice of 5 suppliers that you can choose from, ranging in price. We then create a personalized cost savings report outlining exactly where your clients can save and what they need to do to manage the switch. The next step is obviously speaking to the client. We then conduct a savings consultation with your client, taking them through their report, explaining all of their options that they have. If they decide they do want to go forward with the savings, we do all of the hard work, from speaking to the suppliers, creating the documentation, managing the handover. Everything is done through us. We also then let your client know when the switch has gone through and what to expect next. And any questions they have or any aftercare services they need will all be managed by us as well. Finally, we also send you a rebate for every client that switches. These are what our reports look like. This is what goes out to the client themselves. So it's a very, very nice interactive report. It breaks down quite easily all of the areas you can save. On the right, you can see we've got a couple of our areas: electricity, gas, water, card payments, telecoms, waste, fuel, recycling. So we're looking at all of the major utilities. There's also take deal buttons available on the report, which allow the client to take the deal if they're interested, or book in a consultation with one of our analysts if they like, to actually be able to talk through the report. And these reports are able to be co-branded. So at the moment, the one you're seeing on the right-hand side of the page is the ones that are purely Reducer branded. But if you'd like your own colors and your own accountancy logos on there, that is something that we can do as well. The idea of Reducer is all-in-one cost management. We want to bring everything together so your clients don't have to go anywhere else to manage their utility bills. So we do that through a few different ways: having in-depth savings consultations to ensure all the clients are on the best possible deals. We do bill validations, so bill checks to make sure that all the correct charges are on there: CCLs, KVAs, and VATs. We also alert all clients as soon as there's a price dip in the market and they're eligible to switch, which means that if they're not on the best possible rate at the time, they will be after we manage their bills. We also have an in-house contract expiry management system called Reducer Relax. This means that if any clients switch through us, we will put them onto this database, and when they're in the last 3 months of their contract, we'll automatically notify them to let them know that they're about to go out of contract, and then we can switch them as well. This means that your clients will never again go out of contract and pay those 4 or 5 times costs that more than they actually need to. There's also a single point of contact. Each client will have a client partnership manager assigned to them, and he will be in charge of all cost management needs and aftercare as well. And finally, we run an automatic yearly analysis on your clients to make sure that they're always on the best deal possible, regardless of when they came on board with us. Okay, so where can your clients actually save? Well, like I mentioned, we look at all of the major utility areas. This includes electricity, gas, card payments, telecoms and broadband, mobiles, waste recycling, fuel, and water. We're also adding in more and more areas every single day. We're looking to go into travel at the moment, but there's a couple of other areas that we're looking at. So as this expands, we will run analysis on the clients that we've had previously to make sure that all the other areas are covered as well. Okay, just to finish off with then, what does this all cost? What's the pricing? Well, Reducer is a completely free to use service. There is no charge whatsoever to use Reducer. That's from the accountant side and from the client side. We don't charge you or your client a penny to use our service. The way that we make our money is we actually receive a small fee from the supplier if and when your client switches. And if you think about it, this is the most cost-effective way for suppliers to get new clients on board rather than hiring a sales team, training them up. It's much easier for them to just give us preferential rates and give us a small fee we can obviously pass over to the client. And we also have a partner rebate program as well for our accountants. So for every client that switches, you will receive a small rebate from us as well on that. That's everything on Reducer. I see Dan's come on the call, so it's time for me to go. If you've got any other questions, feel free to obviously message in the group or just tick that Dan's going to send you.
Rishi, brilliant. Thank you so much for that presentation, Rishi. 7 billion a year small businesses are wasting on utility bills. That's absolutely phenomenal amount of money. So a nice, easy way to save clients money. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to Rishi, either on the poll or in the Q&A. And I'll hand over to Danny Pickering at Natwest Rapid Cash. Morning, Danny.
Morning, Dan. Thank you. Cheers, Rishi, and some sort of really good presentations this morning. I just want to go ahead and share my screen, Dan, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'll just hang on so we get that.
Just going to jump in to some of the good work that Rapid Cash has done. You may have seen in the press, we've recently launched our in-app integration with Xero, the first lending partner to sit well within the Xero platform. Customers being able to apply for Rapid Cash from inside. So I'm just going to show you a nice little video that we've put together with Xero. I promise it is a nice video.
When you're running a business, bumps in the road can make managing cash flow challenging. Xero has partnered with Natwest Rapid Cash in the UK, so they can help smooth out cash flow by providing you access to money tied up in your outstanding invoices. First, see how much you could access by getting an indicative Natwest Rapid Cash quote through Xero. Once approved, you'll be asked to nominate customers whose outstanding invoices will make up your available funds. Your available funds rise and fall in line with your outstanding invoices for nominated customers. So you'll only have access to what you can afford to repay. Plus, NatWest will never contact your customers. Draw on as little or as much of your Rapid Cash available funds whenever you need, as often as you like. Once Rapid Cash is set up, the money is automatically repaid as your customers pay their invoices. There are no hidden costs. You'll just pay interest on the amount you draw down, which is calculated daily and charged monthly. By giving you access to money that's tied up in outstanding invoices, Rapid Cash helps you take control of your cash flow and seize opportunities when they arise.
Yeah. So yeah, that sort of encapsulates the work we're doing with Xero at the moment. I am trying to share my screen properly. So yeah, Rapid Cash in its entirety, we're working really closely with Xero, as well as the other cloud accounting platforms. Some of you may or may not be familiar with us. We've just launched into the market more widely with the Xero stuff. We're really looking to penetrate the accountancy market next year, joining up with Dan and his team. Types of customers that we're looking to work with. At the moment, we're fully aware of the pinch points of the small businesses. COVID's been a particularly pressing time. But what we really got when we put this product together was understanding what customers want, and what we described there is how we give the customers control, allowing the customers to choose from their invoices in terms of who they want to borrow from. That's where Rapid Cash really stems. The customers are allowed to use this platform, this product alongside their existing overdrafts. So if you're a NatWest business customer or a non-NatWest customer, you can still have your overdraft in place. The speed at which we're working at now for a large incumbent bank is really what's separating us from other standard NatWest products. We're getting customers come to us that have a requirement for funds immediately, and we're able to get that back out the door and get them live and using the facility within 48 hours, which is really good for us. Low security requirements. Obviously, a lot of facilities that are out there in the market, large security required, more of some of the traditional IF stuff. Rapid Cash has a lot lower security required for its customers, and the fees and the way that we set up, as described in that video, the customers are only borrowing, paying for what they borrow on limits up to 300K. Anything greater than that, we do put a small arrangement fee in place. We have recently announced now that we're going up to limits of £1 million for Rapid Cash. So a really exciting moment for us. Obviously working alongside Xero, also being able to lend to some of those larger SMEs in the market. Just a quick whistle stop in terms of the sectors that we really specialize in. You've got your haulage, recruitment, wholesale, distribution, manufacturing and printing customers. That's an area that we're really able to support and get facilities in place for particularly quickly. Sectors we like to stay away from, your charities, construction, oil and gas, your perm recruitment, IT software, and sadly, on this case, accountants, just purely because of the way that the transactions take place and way that the contracts are structured. We're looking for those sectors on the left-hand side that we specialize in, purely because of the way they deliver the work. They submit the invoice and then the POD is delivered.
Danny, I'm really sorry. I probably should have Are you sharing your screen here?
Sorry, is it not
Sorry,
sharing?
yeah, I thought you were trying to share your screen and you gave up on it, but you are.
Oh no,
Sorry.
my apologies.
No, that's my fault. I should have jumped in.
It says my screen is sharing.
Oh, I don't know how. Can anybody? I'm seeing the zero video. The browser.
Oh, I do
Maybe it's
apologise.
just me. Yeah, Sanjay says the same. So yeah, sorry, Danny, we can't see your screen. So I thought you were trying to do it, and I thought you'd given up on it, and you were just kind of talking to us about it.
Sorry, my apologies, Dan. No, I was sharing a presentation, but it looks like that's fallen foul. Let me try again. One moment.
Yeah, it says Michael's put you're sharing the browser, not the screen. So
let's try that. Does that show?
Yeah, I think it's trying to. Yeah, there we go. We've got it.
Okay.
Sorry, Danny.
We're probably a little pressed for time, but that's okay.
No, take the time. Take your time. We're okay.
Brilliant. No worries. I'll just pop back then one slide, just because I want to touch on some of the eligibility for Rapid. These are the main eligibility criteria for us as a business. All of the main accounting packages that are along the bottom are integrated with Rapid. Limited companies and LLPs that you're working alongside, who all have a borrowing need of 20k, 25k up to £1 million. And company turnover, we're looking at businesses that are shy of 100k, but anything around the 100k mark, with projections of achieving that in the next 12 months is really positive for us, who we're able to help lend against. 6 months active trading history. Obviously, we're looking at those businesses that have been performing. We're conscious of the last 8 to 10 months in business, so we do take that into consideration. And in terms of the types of businesses that we're helping out, and ones that you guys will really be able to relate to when you're talking about customers, we're seeing a lot of customers come to us that have won big contracts, seasonal contracts, or frontline service contracts that need that money quickly. As I spoke about, being able to deliver and serve those facilities within 48 hours. We're really excited by that. C bills and B bills. I think we're all familiar with customers that, as we move into 2021, are going to be looking at how they can start repaying some of that money. And Rapid Cash, that, you know, having a C bills or B bills in place does not affect your viability of applying for Rapid. We're actually seeing a lot of customers use Rapid Cash to refinance that C bills and B bills. And a lot of your customers who are trying to win contracts in particularly pressing times, they're looking to change the way that they serve customers. You know, are they offering more flexible terms to existing customers while still being pressed by suppliers? You know, Rapid Cash is able to offer and bridge that gap in that interim while they're trying to be more flexible. And I need to manage cash flow and save money. We're seeing a lot of businesses that have been able to thrive even during COVID, especially some of the sectors that we're working well with. Naturally, they can make a huge saving by reducing some of that security and the cost associated with those large business overdrafts, and get a Rapid Cash facility set up and use it in a more flexible way for when they're looking to fund any working capital gaps that they may have. And then just on the right hand side, we're looking at some of the sort of the case studies that we've got for Rapid Cash, some of the proud testimonials that we've had and businesses we've been able to support during the COVID period, frontline services, and just really keen to be able to share those with you. Now, I appreciate we've I'd missed a couple of slides out due to some of the technical issues. More than happy to set up some calls and share my details for any customers that or accountants out there that want to talk through some customers that they may have that could be suitable for Rapid, or would like to just know a little bit more about the zero integration. So don't hesitate to come forward.
Brilliant. Thanks, Danny. And sorry about that. I should have jumped in when I wasn't. I thought you'd kind of tried sharing your screen. It wasn't working, so you just kind of tried talking over it. So sorry about that. I think the big thing with you guys and Natwest Rapid Cash is having that in-platform tool with Zero, right? So actually, a client's being in Zero as a product, and seeing they can apply for finance through one click of a button.
That's it. Yeah, it's a really exciting opportunity and one we're looking to really utilise in 2021.
Nice one. Cheers, Danny. I'm just going to run the poll now, guys. On that, Danny, sorry, John did ask what the interest rates are.
The interest rates, they vary depending on the size of the facility. The smaller ones are between 4.5% and 8.5%, and the larger facilities up to £1 million are between 2.75% and 6.5%. But obviously, the way that we calculate the interest is obviously the amount of time that the customer's drawn down. So that's not an annual fee for the facility size. It's the amount that the customer opts to use. It's calculated daily.
Okay, nice one. Thanks, Danny. I've just launched a poll, guys, in the group. If there's anybody you want to hear from following today's sessions, please just click that button in the poll and I'll make sure that one of the guys reaches out to you. In terms of what we have coming up, so we are running our last webinar on Thursday, which is on blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So for anyone that's been following crypto and blockchain over the last kind of 12 months, it's absolutely exploding right now. The technology, blockchain technology as a whole is going to touch every industry, including accountancy and audit. And I don't know if anyone follows Bitcoin at all, but the prices are surging right back up to where they were in 2017. And we're hearing now, or we're seeing now actually, that central governments, central banks, investment banking are now getting into blockchain and crypto, and it's becoming a very popular topic. So we're running a webinar with a guy called Laurie Kehoe on Thursday, who is the founder of Blockchain Ireland. Also used to work for Deloitte and headed up their blockchain lab in China and in Dublin. So really looking forward to getting Laurie on the session on Thursday. He's also a TEDx speaker as well. So that should be a really great session. Please make sure you, I'll put the link in the chat for anybody that is interested. I'll just give it a couple more seconds to run the poll, but thank you all so much for your time this morning. We had some really great presentations for some really great presenters. Really appreciate your support, and I'm talking to the presenters and to the attendees on the webinar today. Really appreciate all your support this year. Thank you so much. The Digital Accountancy Show will be going ahead on the 30th of June next year at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So if you haven't signed up to that, please do so at digitalaccountancyshow.co.uk. Wonderful. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Have a great week. And I look forward to catching up with you all very, very soon. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.